Welcome everybody. It gives me great pleasure to see you all today for this completely fabulous exhibition by Shoni. Then we're going to start by Kim Berman introducing the exhibition, and Kim's taken over the supervision along with Leora while Leora's been away, so I'm sure she's going to say something about that. So over to you.
Hi everyone. I'm actually going to read Leora's speech. So Leora wrote a speech for the opening and unfortunately couldn't be here. And so she wrote a speech and I'm going to read it. So I'm going to represent her. And so you can all hear me.
Close your mic.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure to welcome you here to the opening of Disobedient Doilies by Shonisani Netshia. It is with deep sadness and disappointment that I cannot be with you in person tonight for this truly special occasion. My thanks go to Kim for representing me and for her invaluable input during the final stages of Shoni's PhD study. This exhibition is significant, not only to me, but also to the visual art department, given the vital role Shoni has played in it. And particularly as an inspiring role model to students. I have known and taught Shoni since she was a first-year student, becoming more involved with her work during her honors degree, as her work with the decorative and specifically lace had correlations with mine. Thereafter, I supervised her master's study and am now privileged to be her supervisor for her PhD, of which this installation forms the practical component. Over these decades, I have watched Shoni grow from a quiet, diligent undergraduate into a remarkable artist, academic, lecturer, wife, and mother we celebrate tonight. Her personal journey is reflected in her work, reaching a pivotal moment in this installation. Drawing from the living room of her mother's home in Naledi to Soweto, she uses the doily as a metaphor for her self-realization as a black feminist woman. Here, Shoni reimagines the ubiquitous crocheted doily, commonly found in South African homes across diverse cultural contexts. The doily, that carefully knotted, frilly piece of lace which adorns the surfaces of dining rooms, side and coffee tables, upon which treasured ornaments, knickknacks, bowls of fruit, and other domestic objects are placed, is an example of, quote, that which is hidden in plain sight. Often overlooked as unimportant, dismissed as insignificant, unfashionably twee, or negatively associated with femininity, as Shoni shows us, the doily carries historical, cultural, and economic currency, functioning as a weighted signifier of gender, class, status, gentility, and respectability. Building on the work she did for her master's study, in her PhD, Shoni traces the colonial origins of lace, initially brought to the colonies by the Dutch and English in the 17th and 18th centuries. While the original forms of lace doilies have been transformed and adapted in various post-colonies, its associations with Victorian ideals of femininity, obedience, and subservience continue to reverberate within South African domestic contexts. The installation mimics the aesthetic of Victorian British upper-class interiors, where parlors were filled with mahogany furniture, Persian rugs, bone china, lace doilies, and a profusion of ornaments. Here, bone china and other domestic commodities functioned not only as decorative objects, but signifiers of wealth and class. Similarly, the parlor of the middle-class home served to display the family's best household commodities as visible evidence of their status. In the lower middle-class Victorian home, commodities such as the good silverware and china were displayed on perfectly placed doilies as the housewife demonstrated her upwardly mobile aspirations. These conventions, rooted in colonial legacies, restricted women's agency, with sewing and embroidery rarely being valued as art. While 19th century white Victorian middle-class women were expected to embody moral virtue and domestic discipline through crochet and needlework by referencing her grandmother's lived experience, Shoni traces how these practices were mimicked and adapted by black women employed as domestic workers during apartheid-era South Africa. The adoption of doily making and display practices practiced by her grandmother and mother exemplifies this assimilation and intergenerational transmission. In this context, the doilies, which are, to use post-colonial theorist Homi Bhabha's words, quote, the same but not quite, still represented good taste, decency, and propriety, acting as markers that convey conforming to social standards of honesty, virtue, and socially appropriate conduct. As an undergraduate student, Shoni found herself enmeshed in this context and behaviors, values, and ideologies that were expected of her. As a postgraduate student, her professional involvement in the visual arts department as academic and lecturer and her roles as mother and wife took on greater complexity, causing her to question the value of these traditional attributes and how to navigate them in a contemporary world. While still harboring a fondness and nostalgia for the doilies that adorned the home in which she grew up in, she found that the ways in which they are imbued with and continue to uphold patriarchal constructs of femininity were at odds with how she, as a young black feminist and professional working wife and mother, saw herself. This led to what she calls a form of subtle subversion, or a quiet form of insubordination against these constructs. Using the doily as metaphor, Shoni imbues the doily with a sense of agency, far from being a passive, decorative signifier of order and propriety in the home. The unassuming doily becomes the antithesis of these values. Disorderly, unruly, disobedient, and disruptive. They extend beyond the confines of decency into the realm of excess. Excess describes that which goes beyond what is conventionally perceived as socially acceptable limits, thereby breaking the boundaries of restraint and decorum. Far from being a discrete object whose function is to adorn surfaces in living rooms, here doilies congregate in abundance, forming densely layered, intricate constellations of thread and patterning. They proliferate, taking over furniture, carpets, ceiling, and the ornaments themselves, wrapping themselves around, engulfing objects, or appearing to grow over them. They seem to have a life force of their own. Objects lie buried in and under the doilies, in processes of being swallowed up, enveloped into, and consumed by them. Inactive doilies become animated, spilling out of drawers, assuming control and authority over and in places, taking possession of the ornaments, thereby threatening the integrity of the living room itself. Yet, despite this performative enactment of agency, areas that the rebellious doilies have not yet colonized remain. Parts of upholstery, wooden surfaces of the room divider, and coffee table are still visible, or simply have doilies draped over them. Not yet subjects to forms of active, creative agency, these areas point to a sense of restraint, although they could potentially be overrun. It is in these areas that the notion of quiet rebellion is manifest. Traditional values are subverted, not through aggressive forms of self-assertion, but through understated forms of creative agency, which, while abundantly present, are not overtly expressed. It is with this quiet assertiveness that Shoni disrupts conventional notions of domestic respectability and repositions the doily as an active site of feminist resistance and reimagined identity. On behalf of the Visual Art Department, the faculty, and myself, I extend heartfelt congratulations to you, Shoni. We are so proud of you. This wonderful installation results from decades of hard work, dedication, commitment, and perseverance. It is also manifest to your courage to hold up a self-reflective mirror, thoughtfully evaluating your identity to gain a deeper understanding of yourself and use of your work as a means of working through processes of ideological, behavioral, and cognitive change. I feel honored to have walked alongside with you for so long, and I am privileged to have you as a valued colleague and friend. I am confident that this exhibition is the beginning of many more successes to come. Congratulations. So I have 4 minutes to add. So after reading Leora's opening speech, I have very little to add to her poignant reading of this remarkable exhibition and Shoni's personal journey. Leora is recovering from a rough round of chemo treatment this week, and while she can't physically join us, her critical eye and curatorial input in this magnificent space are very present. I have felt deeply honored and grateful to be invited into this intimate team of Shoni's PhD journey. Although I see my role more as an enthusiastic cheerleader and coach, and one who's feeling immensely proud tonight. Gordon wanted to be here. After a grueling 1-week bout in hospital, and in spite of being booked off, he has been another mentor in Shoni's journey, especially as they share a studio in downtown Selby in the inner city. So he was going to come and be disobedient to his doctor's orders, but he's got flu again. As Shoni has so eloquently expressed in her statement, and Leora elucidated, this installation reclaims domestic craft as a feminist resistance, insisting that disruption and refusal need not be allowed to be transformative. We are among disobedient doilies. Disobedience begins with someone refusing to comply. But its positive attributes emerge when disobedience is guided by conscience, imagination, and critical thought. Erich Fromm, the post-war German philosopher, wrote, "Human history began with an act of disobedience, and it is not unlikely that it will be terminated by an act of obedience. We are living in terrifying times where acts of thoughtless obedience and conformity to authoritarian control threatens our humanity." When I looked up affirmative disobedience, unsurprisingly, ChatGPT generated a long list that includes moral courage as willingness to resist unjust authority, independent thinking, which is the ability to think critically rather than to conform, creativity and innovation, in that artists and designers frequently disobey convention, and social transformation, which occurs through acts of refusal. This evening, we are all here to celebrate Shoni's remarkable exhibition, but she's asking us to look deeper, to resist, not loudly, but to reflect and find our own agency in disobedience as a brave and ethical act of moral courage. It is my distinct honor to declare this exhibition open, and on behalf of every person in this room, to congratulate Shoni. You make our department and faculty shine with your brilliance and deep humanity. Congratulations.
Sure. Wow, thank you. And to all of you who braved the cold, of all days, I thought, what's happening? You know, it's just too cold, but thank you so much. This morning I received so many messages and I started to worry. I thought there'd only be 5 of us. But you made it, and you made my day, and you've made all of this work worth it. Thank you. What a journey. My heartfelt thanks goes to my supervisors, Prof. Leora Faber, who couldn't be here today, and Professor Kim Berman, for your dedication, your support, the encouragement. You've pushed me further than I imagined possible. A special thank you to you, Kim, for agreeing to come on board. Your care and support throughout this process has meant so much to me. She's come in every single day since I started setting up. She's made sure that I am fed, that, so thank you so much, Kim. Thank you, Prof. Brenda Schmarman, for embracing the idea of this exhibition in this beautiful and fitting space, for being incredibly supportive of my growth as a young Black female academic. It means so much to me. Thank you to your team for making it possible. Prof. Irene Bronner, thank you for your insights and critical engagement with my body of work. And I express my gratitude to Nilofer, as well as Mom Jeanette, for always being here and taking care of me while I was here. A special thank you to the University Capacity Development Program, the UCDP, under the DHET for financial support, which made a huge difference. To Mark Sinoff and Boot Question for their assistance with the hanging and the lighting of the show. Thank you to Hanley Becker, who's here somewhere, who, you helped make this vision come to life. All the extra knitted pieces that you see hung on the ceiling were knitted by her. So thank you so much, Hanley. To my HOD and dear friend Gordon, who's not here, Diane, I'm sure you'll give him this message. Thank you so much for your support, constant support, encouragement, generosity, and for granting me time to work in the studio. When you know Gordon, you know him. 2 weeks would not pass without him coming in with a bag of doilies, small, large, bought locally, internationally. At some point, I think we were competing to get to the secondhand stores first, because I was like, I have to, outrun him. But I'm deeply grateful. Diane, please pass my warm and deepest gratitude to him, and thank you for always being there for me. My sincere thanks to the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Art, Design and Architecture, Professor Freshke, Vice Deans, Prof. Des Small, Professor Anthony Ambala, who's the incoming Vice Dean of Teaching and Learning, Dr. Finzi, my AMP mentor. Thank you so much for the words of wisdom and for providing direction. My colleagues and friends in the Visual Art Department. I'll start with my office mate, Ruth. Where is she? I don't know where she is. But thank you so much. You've pushed me, and you helped me test some ideas in 2023 for this show in the Overwhelmed group show. Thank you for your love and your constant support, Ruth. I'm grateful. Dr. Sinetemba Makanya, I've known you for a couple of months, really, but you've been incredibly supportive. Prof. Alison Kearney, for your words of encouragement. Uluyanda Zindela, thank you so much. He stepped in last year when I was on sabbatical to teach on my behalf. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks to Session, to Minette Vari. Thank you to Corinne Basel, who's here as well. Thank you always for, asking me how I'm doing. I really appreciate it. To Leonardo Situ, Mbali Shabalala, Esther Hadebe, thank you for stepping into teaching for me this year while I complete this work. I really appreciate you. And it feels weird to say this, but I have to say it as it is. My former colleagues and dear friends. Sis Elda, thank you. She's been checking on me. And I remember when I was setting up my master's exhibition in 2009, she kept on asking me, are you fine? And she'd sometimes make a comment about my dirty sneakers, but But even now, just yesterday, she was asking me, is everything fine? Thank you, Sisi. My heart, nyabonga. Professor David Payton, again, another colleague and dear friend who I wouldn't be here, honestly, if it wasn't for him being a champion in making sure that I'm here. Dr. Vedant Nanakchand, thank you so much. You've taught me so much. I appreciate you. Alexa, you've shown so much care and support. And then I'm going to mention colleagues who are friends. Ntabi Singh, Bongani, Dr. Kanyam Tetwa, Dr. Kimberly Bediako, Amanda Breitenbach, who still has my master's invite in her office. I mean, some colleagues that are here have watched me grow since my late teenage years and my early 20s, and it is truly special to have you here tonight with me. To the FADA family who's here, and I've not named you, thank you so much, I appreciate it. To my friends, personal friends, Thandi Mudziri, Bochibase, thank you so much. Buleng, we've been, my friend, thank you so much. She's working at Javits and also completing her PhD. Thank you, my friend. To my incredible former students turned studio assistants, Chandre, Bradley, Lesedi, and Mangoba, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah. I really would not have done this without you. Students past and present, I see you. Thank you for making it. It means a lot to me. Yes, Elsa, back there. Thank you. Second, last but not least, to my mother, without whom none of this would have been possible. Mama, thank you for believing that I can do this and for being my number one cheerleader. I will always be grateful to you and Ubaba. I wish he was here to witness this because my dad always called me a doctor all those years ago. And for allowing me to follow my dreams to study fine art. When I studied in the then TWR, it was called fine art. So you didn't know what I was venturing into, but I thank you so much. And while I did not learn how to crochet or knit per se, I can at least sew buttons onto my husband's shirt. Yeah. And so, Mama, Nyabonga, Wena Nokoko, for your love of keeping your Soweto homes comfortable and wanting to look respectable while I was growing up, because that laid the foundation and the groundwork for my research. Nyabonga, Mam. My dearest sister, Masha, those of you who don't know, there she is. Thank you so much for your love and support. It's carried me through all these years. For your love and support. Thank you for always watching the children, and I appreciate you, Sisi. And finally, to my husband, Arwani, and my precious, precious children. My daughter's crying, she takes after me. Thank you so much for your patience with me, for your understanding, and for giving me the space to do this. I didn't give you much of a choice, but I hope it makes sense now or that it will soon. But I love you so much, and thank you to everyone. You've made my evening. I love you guys. Thank you.